Welcome. In front of me is a Samsung Galaxy A22 5G, and today I'll go over unboxing along with a quick overview of this phone. And at the end of the video, or at the end, I'll provide you also with better alternatives to this trash device that I have right here. So if you want to see what can be purchased, or what purchase will be better than this for the price, and that is going to be lower than the cost of this phone, then you can just skip right to the end basically. But anyway, let's get going with this so you can actually figure out what you're getting here for the money. So we got the phone, which I already did actually unpack, set up and do all that stuff. So let's just pop it out of here. It's already set up, as you can see. So paperwork, obviously no one really cares about this one. We got a type A to type C charger, or cable I mean, and then we got a 15 watts charger, which I'm gonna basically praise them for including a charger at all, which seems kind of redundant because this is only a 15 watt charger, which probably all of us already have at home. But it's still nice that they included one, unlike the newer Samsung devices, which just simply don't come with a charger at all. So anyway, apart from that, when you start looking at the device itself, screen right here is a 6.6 inch display. It's a fairly big display, to be honest, with a 1080p resolution, so more precisely 1080 by 2400. It's a TFT display, which that's where the drawbacks of this start coming in, because to be perfectly honest, Samsung device with a TFT display just kind of rubs me off the wrong way. It's a Samsung, they have way better displays. They have been including way better displays in the A series half a decade ago, so I don't see a reason why this phone right here, released in like what, 2020, 2021, comes with a TFT display. Now, to be fair, it is 90 Hertz, but it's a TFT. If you're gonna include a TFT display and not also make it a high refresh rate, then you're already failing at a just fundamental level here. So at least they didn't screw that one up, but still, Samsung AMOLED. There is no excuse not to have it. When a thing like Galaxy A5 or was it 3, something like that, came with a Super AMOLED display, to be fair, it did come out like 5 or 6 years ago, and it had worse specifications than this, but then time moves on. Everything had worse specifications back then, so I want to see an improvement, not downgrades, to be honest. And this is overall a downgrade in every single way, apart from maybe the cameras, if we're considering what you're getting for the money at a current age. So to be more specific with what I mean by this is, it's a TFT display. It comes with a MediaTek instead of a Snapdragon or Exynos, which already just when I read this, I wasn't really sure if this is correct, because to be honest, I'm not a fan of Exynos processors, but come on, just at least give me that, not MediaTek. Just if you're also not aware, MediaTek is kind of like the cheaper versions of something like a Snapdragon or Exynos. It's basically the processor that majority of the like really unknown brands that want to produce a phone at a just way cheaper price range will include in their phones, because that processor is cheaper, and that can just drive up the production price of the device down. Now here we get a MediaTek, more precisely MediaTek Dimensity 700, which is a 5G chipset, but still the price range isn't low for a device with a MediaTek and a kind of crappy display, which is why I'm kind of so judgmental of this device. Just because it's a Samsung, I wouldn't pay more because it's running in One UI. I don't care that much for it. It's still an Android, and overpaying for it is just ridiculous. That's basically what I'm getting at. So anyway, actually moving on with the specifications right here. The phone right here that I have, this precise one, is a 64GB built-in storage with 4 GB of RAM, And when you go for the 64 version, you only have a 4GB variant, but if you up the storage to 128, you'll have choices between 4, 6 and 8GB of RAM, so you can choose if you want more or less. Now additionally, the phone does have an expandable storage, so you can slap in an SD card in here and have more than 128 or more than 64, depending on how you which one you go for. And apart from that, it does have a built-in battery of 5000 milliamps with that 15-watt charger. Don't expect any super fast charging here because this is only a 15-watt charger, but it still will charge a little bit better than probably what you're expecting from this kind of crappy charger. To be fair, Samsung does charge their devices relatively good at this really low charging speed, but just to also be fair to other devices, any phone with a actual fast charging capability will blow this phone out of the water. My outdated Mate 20 Pro with fast charging will charge in about an hour to full. This will probably take like 2 or 3 hours, so there is some payoffs and trade-offs here that were done, which again, I don't really see this being worth the money that you need to pay. So moving on, further we have a triple camera setup at the back. So we have a 48 megapixel wide sensor as a main shooter. We got a 5 megapixel ultra wide and 2 megapixel depth camera. So to be fair, one of those is most certainly a sticker camera, meaning it's just there so it looks like it has a triple camera setup. They also went a step further to make the flash almost look like a lens. As you can see, it's in a circle, kind of making it look like a quad camera setup. But realistically, you only have one usable camera here. The 5 megapixel will come out blurry and with photos, and the 2 megapixel depth is not used almost at all. And if it is used by a phone and things like portrait shots, it will primarily destroy the photos because it adds this fake bokeh effect, which struggles with distinguishing what is a foreground and what is a background, and creates this disgusting blur around objects, which again, I wouldn't use it in this case because it literally ruins the photo. So that being said, at the front we do have an 8 megapixel wide sensor and it shoots at 1080p 30 frames, while the back one shoot a little bit over 1080p. They have like this weird resolution of 1152p, but again, it shoots at 30 frames and it's almost equivalent to 1080p. So cameras here are nothing amazing. The screen is nothing amazing, the charging is nothing amazing, the processor is just, it's garbage. And the only, I guess, okay part of this is the resolution of the display and the fact that it actually has a 90 Hz refresh rate. So that will basically finish up the what's good about it and what's bad. Now, lastly, the price is over $300, and for that price I cannot recommend this phone to anybody. Now if it would have been for like 150, maybe 180, then sure, go right ahead. It would be worth, maybe not worth, but you would have a bit better value for your money, but not at $300. At $300, just to put that in perspective, now going to what I can recommend you for that money, would be any kind of Xiaomi device. Now personally, I never was too great of a fan of like these Chinese brands, but also to be fair, Xiaomi is one of the better ones out there. They make really cheap devices that are really good, and for $300 you can get basically any kind of Poco device, I believe. So these come around, I think, like $300. They come with Snapdragons and also a flagship grade Snapdragons, maybe from my last generation, but they will be outperforming this thing right here without any problem. The cameras will be better, the display will be better, the refresh rate will be better, literally everything will be better. So that's why I will tell you to stay away from this phone. It's not worth any kind of money, in my opinion. It seems like a honestly, looking at it, it almost feels like Samsung is trying to scam people into buying their device and see how much they can make profit on a device that isn't worth that much just because it's a Samsung. It just kind of feels disgusting because I don't really see a reason why you would pay $300 for a MediaTek device that comes with, I would say, less than mid-range specifications. So that's basically what it boils down to. So yeah, I recommend you to look into other options. If you're not really like super stuck on Samsung, do look into some other phones, and from there pick what I would consider to be better money or value for your money. So that being said, if you found this video helpful, don't forget to hit like, subscribe, and thanks for watching.